And this is the 1 Mile at a Time podcast. If you haven't heard of us, that's because this is the first time we're doing it.
Your health is wealth. If nothing more, just remember, your body is a temple, so treat it that way. If a billionaire is laying in the bed and that billionaire cannot walk, that billionaire would give up all of his money just to get up and walk. It's like, no, I don't want to run cross country. That's for white kids. I'm black, I just want to sprint. Well, he was very, very persuasive. Ended up not only loving cross country, but I still love my coach, Mr. Bert Storm. We called him Dr. Spock because he hardly ever smiled, and we could hear him from around the other side. So when we were running cross country, run faster, Malik! Run faster, Monty! And you could hear him. I am because you are. And showing up in that way, that movement brings us back to life in such a way that is bigger than all of us, but it's a part of all of us. Track and cross country coaches should always be in tune and connected to basketball coaches, to wrestling coaches, to baseball coaches, and on and on.
It's become so central to the identity of Columbus, these amazing, impactful running groups, walking groups.
All right, is this thing on? Hey, you just walked over right in time. I know you weren't coming over to listen to us, but hey, you're there, so you get to listen.
Hi.
If you happen to be within the sound of our voice, hey. If you happen to be within the sound of our voice, I'm Jeff, and
I'm Hannah. Hello.
And this is the 1 Mile at a Time podcast. If you haven't heard of us, that's because this is the first time we're doing it. We started this afternoon at 1 o'clock with Andrew Buckmichael. We were at 3 o'clock with race director Darius Blackford, and now we are here with Black Man Run captain Malik Willoughby. How you doing, my friend?
It is a wonderful day. Thanks for having me.
It is, absolutely. I'm glad you're here. It has truly been a pleasure over the last few years to get to know you better and to just be in your orbit, I think. It's been really helpful for me, and I just really love watching you out in our community. So,
Health is wealth.
health as well.
Where did that phrase
Tell
come
me
from?
about that.
Yeah.
Health is wealth. One of the key things growing up that I found out, there was a gentleman in my community. His name was Frank Allen Hinkle. He was like a dad for all of us. And he said, your health is wealth. If nothing more, just remember, your body is a temple, so treat it that way, right? So I didn't know exactly what that meant. You know, we were just running around the neighborhood, jumping off rooftops on the back of abandoned flatbed trucks. That's a true story. We were those kids. But he said if a billionaire is laying in the bed and that billionaire cannot walk, that billionaire would give up all of his money just to get up and walk. That lets you know that your ideas and the ideal of being the wealthiest person in the world may mean nothing if you can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first things I heard at the age of 12 to make me understand that health, above all things, is the wealthiest thing in the world. I can go on and on, but that's what sticks out in my mind when I hear health is wealth. I can hear his voice saying that little small thing to me at 12 that stuck with me, and it's still with me at this ripe old age of grandfather age. I'll just say that.
So I love that. Health is wealth. Health is wealth. So your journey, where did that come to life for you for the first time? So you're 12 when you heard this message.
Yes.
So when did you get involved with sports, or when was your first intro into running as a motto for health is wealth?
So being a poor black kid, first in New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey, where I'm originally from. We got here September 10th, 1979. I always remember it because that was my 8th birthday, getting here in the city of Columbus. And all we did was run. So I have a sister who's a little older than there's some stair steps. It's me, 3 brothers, and then a girl, and then 3 more brothers. So she was dead in the middle. So she would beat up the 3 younger brothers.
Of course.
I was one of those.
Just gotta hold her own, you know?
Carmen would beat up Kenyatta and Carnell and Malik, but we all wanted to beat her in a foot race because she was so fast. So it just happened organically where we all raced from light post to light post all the time. So it was that light post to light post thing that happened, and you'd get an uncle, and of course, if you beat your sister, this $1's yours. If not, she gets 5. So it was kind of like that. Because she was the only girl. That's pretty much what it was. But it started there. However, the journey into running was a little different. I knew I was going to do track. So the city of Columbus during my middle school years, the funding, unfortunately, took out middle school sports. So I didn't get the opportunity. But there was a local rec center. So Columbus Recreation and Parks was always close. And so was the Boys and Girls Club. But high school. So my best friend said, we're going to run cross country next year when I was in the 8th grade. It's like, no, I don't want to run cross country. That's for white kids. I'm black. I just want to sprint.
Yeah.
Because we all sprinted. Because sprinting was the thing in the hood, right? And he was like, oh, no, you don't know about Kenyans then, huh? You don't know about a BB Kila. Like, you don't know about these names of these people that kind of look like you, right? And I'm like, no, not interested. Well, he was very, very persuasive. I ended up not only loving cross country, but I still love my coach, Mr. Bert Storr. We called him Dr. Spock because he hardly ever smiled. And we could hear him from around like the other side. So when we were running cross country, run faster, Malik! Run faster, Monty! And you could hear him, the sweetest, kindest, softest guy. His name was Bert Storr. He looked like Leonard Nimoy. And to this day, he's my other white dad, right? So he's someone else who was very important to me in a time when I really needed that thing. So to this day, shout out to Coach Bert Storr, and even to my track coaches. As far as distance running, it started there. As far as track, I had Coach Williams, may he rest in peace, at East High School. So that's where it began for me. So the love of it started earlier in the camaraderie with people that I still talk to, like Franklin County Commissioner Kevin Boyce. We were on a 2-mile relay track team together at East High School. So it's those things that always stay with me.
Wow.
Fun fact for those of you listening, Malik is, I think, the only person that I know that has his photo on the wall of not one, but 2 high schools. And I've seen one of them that was at East. And you're the other one, Centennial?
Yeah.
All right.
Look at you.
Hey, I pay attention.
I see.
I don't know, it doesn't always come out.
It's
but
that bird's eye view thing.
it's that bird. But so we've also had some conversations about team and culture and the effect of that to those around you. So if you're in a supportive community, you tend to all ships rise, or whatever that expression is around that. Talk to me a little bit about whether it's a Black Men Run event, or going to Bronzeville Active, or going to Stretch's Easton Run Club. That camaraderie that comes out of being part of a group that's everybody's just trying to achieve the same thing.
The camaraderie is so important, and that's part of my answer to probably those deeper questions. It's Mbube. It's a Zulu or South African reference or understanding of I am because you are, and showing up in that way. Eastern Run Club. So one of my heroes, who's actually pretty close, is a lot younger than me in that stretch. Daryl Mercer, and so many other people. So Eastern Run Club came out of Nike. I remember he called me early because he's like, well, there's this one particular shoe brand that I won't name that wanted him to be a representative. And then there was Nike, and then there was Lululemon. And he said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which one should I pick? We talked about which one he should pick. And some great things were happening as a result of that. All the funding, it was coming out of 2020, and we know what that social and political climate looked
Right.
like. And then the funding stopped. And he said, well, you know, I'm going to do something until Nike starts back up. I said, I want you to do something. I want you to do something where you keep going no matter what Nike does, you'll always have a thing. And I believe he received that same kind of information and nudges from other folks, which is great. So Easton, you have, man, there's this ton of folks who just have never run before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you have these runners and walkers, and they feel welcome. And I mean, they look up to folks, you know, like Stretch and Chris and Ron and all these super fast guys, and young ladies who are just like stellar. They feel welcome though. And when you have a place like Easton Run Club that comes out of, you know, Stretch and the folks that support him the way that they do, and when you have German Village Run Club, where, you know, another one of my friends that I can nudge and we could talk about really anything, and when he needs to like talk about things that he doesn't want to talk to anything
Yeah.
else about, Craig can talk to me about any of those things. Craig Kent, who is like the real Clark Kent, right? Even though his dad is Clark Kent, let me just make that clear. That's his dad's real name, by the way.
That's so funny.
But having those places and spaces where the greatest part is just to show up, and you don't have to do anything but just be present. And being present for people is so important, and allowing them to show up as authentically as they need to be, because sometimes, and not just this climate and where we are, but just in general, we're thinking about what it looks like for people to show up, and they may show up with so much on their shoulders. And sometimes the walks that we've had, Black Men Run, Bronzeville Active, Eastern Run Club, German Village Run Club, the talks that we've had, being able to even run with a few folks from West Side and Outrunners, like the conversations that you can have offline with people about their struggles at home, about the issues they have at work. I'm not saying that it's a replacement for therapy,
Right.
but it's so therapeutic.
Right, it is.
And so showing up authentically is one thing, but showing up where you lift just a few burdens, if you can, from others is completely different, and it's a true blessing.
What do you think about movement? What is it about movement that sparks that in others? Or running or walking or endurance sports that does spark that sense of, I don't know, safety and being vulnerable with others and being able to show up as your truest self. What is it about movement that provides, and you know, run clubs, walk clubs, that provides that avenue, in your opinion?
Wonderful question. Movement to me, I always think about rhythm, the cadence. As a yogi, a yoga instructor, I always think about breathing. And there is an ebb and flow. There is an inhale and exhale. And what happens with movement is, even when you're tired, sometimes the rhythm of other people's footsteps can bring you back to life. It's almost like being resuscitated. So movement is something that moves throughout us. It's universal, it's cosmic. We understand from our very small understanding that the universe breathes. It inhales, it exhales, it expands and contracts. And movement to me is just our reminder that we are the universe. We're not part of it, but we are the universe.
Wow.
And so those things bring us back to life. As we are connected, of course, modern science is just getting to this place where the understanding that ancient spirituality understood is that we're inextricably connected. So your rhythm, Hannah, becomes my rhythm, becomes Jeff's rhythm. That movement brings us back to life in such a way that is bigger than all of us, but it's a part of all of us.
Wow. Wow.
Well, I was actually thinking I was going to add this remark at the end, but then you spoke directly towards it. You always have this very calming effect on me, and I always value the time with you because it really is. It's something that I notice every time I'm with you. Anyways, I could talk about that too, but that's not why we're here. But I do have a hearing you speak and seeing some of the things that I'm seeing in high school cross country. Your mention of, I don't want to run cross country. That's a white kid sport. It's changing, but it's not changing.
Yeah.
What can, and so and even with that, like it's whether there's Black or a lot of Latinos, a lot of, I guess it'd be Middle Eastern, like we're seeing a lot more.
And it's cultural for so many of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so whether you are a high school coach or a coach of a training program, or you're starting a run club for the first time, like how can we help to bridge that gap? What can we do better?
Lots of food. You're gonna need lots and lots of.
Love that answer.
One thing that I would suggest, and there's probably a million ways to approach this, but one thing that I would suggest is coaches should be forming alliances, and by that I don't mean just cross country and track coaches, right? Coaches, especially within a high school, but you can connect with different high schools. You can even connect with different independent, like AAU coaches. But for every reason, track and cross country coaches, that's something. Track and cross country coaches, I told you I'm Friday. It's been a long day of meetings and FaceTime.
Yeah.
But track and cross country coaches should always be in tune and connected to basketball coaches, to wrestling coaches, to baseball coaches, and on, golf, swimming.
Yeah.
And I say that for a lot of reasons because some of those things always cross. And name one sport where a coach, maybe with the exception of something like swimming and maybe not so much golf, but even tennis coaches, where you don't run.
Right, that's true.
So even if it's just a warm-up.
Yep.
But preseason, what are we doing most of the time? We're preparing for the next season, and in preparation for the next season, there's so much running going on. I've known some basketball coaches who happen to be basketball and cross-country coaches, so they made their basketball team run cross-country preseason. And one thing about those basketball players is that they never got tired. They weren't trying to win city or district or regional or state. They were just trying to get through, most of the time just a race, right? Get through practice, right? But when they played basketball, they showed up in a very different way. And at first, the team, they were disgusted with the coach. They were like, what in the why would we be doing this? Like, first of all,
this is torture.
I want my fall season to do nothing, right?
Yeah.
I just want to hang out before basketball season. But the other part of it was the appreciation afterwards. Once they understood, I'm running up and down the court on offense and defense, and I'm never tired. That's just one small example. But coaches should always be in contact with one another. And of course, you have to explain to them all of the benefits of what it means to be running cross country, to be doing these drills and intervals and fartleks and 5K.
Right.
Once they get there and have that understanding, it helps them to accept it, to embrace it, and then some of them shock themselves. There's been a couple of basketball and wrestling players, athletes, who ended up running cross country and ended up being good and ended up being state finalists and just shocking themselves. But the coaches, I think it starts with the coaches. And once you go with the coaches and getting those folks involved when they're on their off season, that you can bring them into view with that.
Yes.
Yes, see you.
So I want to switch focus a little bit. I'm thinking about, my head has been living in, the Rec Club set and where we are in Columbus, and how it's become so central to the identity of Columbus. These amazing, impactful running groups, walking groups. I know you're involved in a lot. Of course, you're the
Just
captain.
a couple of things.
Yeah, right. Just a few. Black Men Run, and then very involved in Eastern Run Club and German Village Run Club. Tell me about a time where one of those communities, whatever community it was, a moment that really sticks with you, like a story of like when you were in the community and there's something happened or a moment or an aha moment that just, I don't know, was really impactful in your life or in the community.
Wow, so many.
Oh yeah.
And I can think of, I mentioned the conversations that we've had here, and then to be honest, I feel completely honored when people share things with me that are personal.
Yeah.
And I hold them in a vault, and to me it's trusted information. However, those are the things that are things, of course, I wouldn't even talk about out loud other than to give that example.
Right.
But to see, and this is probably an answer in something else, but
Yeah, no, I love it.
to see, we know the story of Ahmaud Arbery. And in my small community, Bronzeville, started it just for the folks in the community to move because movement is so important. The first time it ever happened, we all got together and I got to know Darius primarily through the other hat that I wear, which is Columbus Recreation and Parks. We try to spread our arms as wide as we can around the community. However, we've been coordinating the kids run for the Columbus Marathon for eons.
Yeah.
Like even when I was a part-time, I've been with Recreation Parks for 29 years.
Yeah,
just whatever.
I love it.
So
Wow.
even back in the early 90s, we were a part of the coordinating effort for kids run. And so I knew Darius through that. So, and then of course, by the time I got to my first half and even my first full, it was Columbus. I wanted to do it at home. It was important. But even prior to those things, I just remember posting Bronzeville, and Darius was like, "Is it okay if I show up?" So it's in February 23rd. It's very cold, and it's just a handful of us. So this year, not that long ago, 5 years later, I can't begin to tell you, and it's touching to me, how many run clubs were present for this Ahmaud Arbery Run that I thought was just important to have in the community to make sure we were still moving and representing that life, his life. And you had Fleet Feet, and someone from Saucony, and Outrunners, and German Village, and Eastern Running Club, Black Men Run, Black Girls Run. You have all the Miles for Justice. Bronzeville, of course, is the host, but that wasn't the expectation. That wasn't the expectation at all. But to see us all together, when we start talking about things, that really big question you asked earlier, like how do we get together? Sometimes organically.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a plan to do that. Only had a plan to make for a space that was safe and inclusive.
Absolutely.
In the community. And I didn't know how many was going to show up. I just knew it was possibly going to be cold. And down the street, the Maroon Arts Group, a young black arts group, who just purchased this big theater. Of course, you can use the lobby. They let me use their art space to do yoga outside in the park with a jazz band every year. So to have that as a gift, that people can come inside in case it's snowing or raining, that's community. And to me, that readily sticks out. There are other things like the Juneteenth run. Maybe I'll answer that later, but that's just one thing, Hannah, that sticks out. Seeing so many folks and the representation. That young man right there, that's Gary
As he
Stockard.
runs away.
And Gary Stockard is running. Gary Stockard is the vice captain for Black Men Run Columbus. Give it up for Gary. I can't do the things that I'm able to do without Gary. That is my big brother right there. Shout out Gary.
He's running away.
Gary's Benjamin Buttons too, by the way. He looks younger now than he did look 5 years ago. Gary also is running faster than he's ever run in his whole life. Gary is 10 years older than me. He is Benjamin Buttons.
For those who can't see, Gary is running away.
And Gary is shy and he ran away.
Poor Gary. Poor Gary. Gary may have just quit his job at Fleet Feet. Well, we are gonna, we've started a tradition. Granted, we're how many hours old? 4 hours old. But we've started a tradition where we
Thank
end.
you. I'm so glad to be a part of this inaugural
Oh my
thing. This
God.
brand new
Yes,
thing.
thank you.
This is cool.
This is
You have to start doing this everywhere, like in the community and everything.
Yeah.
this thing isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we've got two final questions for you.
Yes.
And the first one, sorry, I get the fun. Well, I guess they're both fun. They're both fun. Anyways, so you're here on the 1 Mile at a Time podcast. If you could pick one mile, and this could be a physical mile, it could be whatever, it's 1 mile that you've already run that's been your most memorable mile.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll give you a second.
Okay.
That was like 5 seconds. So, what would it be?
So, wow. Just
You are
one,
free
huh?
to take. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say this not only because it was my longest run to date, and I honestly wasn't going to do it. It was a suggestion. It was a suggestion by a young man named Nathan, and Nathan. Shout out Bexley Run Club, Nathan. He was going to be guided on this very long run, right, by Craig Kemp, German Village, because Craig Kemp runs 300 miles, right? So I wasn't going to really, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do it. You know, people are like, man, you ran 26, you can run 30. I barely ran that 26, let's be clear about that. It's the 30th mile this year, this past spring. And there's so many, but I'm going to stick to the script, Jeff. I'm going to stick to the script, Hannah. That was memorable. Along the way, there were people along the way on stops. And part of that journey is fantastic because I'm stopping and there's Stephanie with like peanut butter sandwiches and we're running everywhere. So we're taking up. So one of the things that I've always thought to do was how many zip codes can we run through in Central Ohio, and partly to just bring people together.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a 50-mile run, maybe it's a marathon, maybe it's less than that, but whatever it is, people can pick and choose through the streets how they might want to run. Maybe it's just a block, it might be a mile, it might be the whole 50. But to bring as many people together from one area to the next, one neighborhood to the next would be a fantastic thought.
That's cool.
And I felt like part of that happened on that run, on that 30-mile run. So
That's awesome.
that 30th mile is one that I'll shout out right now, but there's so many. So unfair that you're giving me this. I I can't say a mile, but I'll have to say the Selma to Montgomery 51-mile relay stands out as a pinnacle in terms of just the camaraderie, but the trek, what it meant in 1965 and Bloody Sunday to be on the same road. To me, it still moves me to this day. And we've been able to take teams, and it's great that we've taken winning teams, but it's so much larger than that.
Yeah.
So much larger. It's about legacy.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be overdue we are overdue for a cup of coffee at Upper Cup, because I want to talk to you more about your idea, because I think I may have an idea for you. Anyways.
Are we going to be throwing like a 100-mile from Lake to
It's
tour?
104 miles.
104
miles. Nice.
Start training for an ultra, Malik.
I like that. I like that already.
All right, let's go. So
I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
fun question. So Malik, I don't know if you remember this, but I think we met in 2018.
Yeah.
As part of the Sea Change project.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And it just came to me like, yes, yeah. And I think
Really?
maybe we were both part of the program. I was an assistant to another person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was there with my brother Cornell.
Yes, yes.
And it was about vegan soul food.
It was about vegan soul food.
Yes.
So
Willoughby Soul Veg.
Willoughby Soul Veg. That's right. I know. And so I want to ask you a question about food because I know you're vegan. So what is going to be, after the race is done on Sunday, where your hamstring is totally not going to hurt and it's going to be an awesome day. And
It's going to be
not
an
even
awesome day.
It's not even going to rain that
It
hard.
might even be dry.
It might even be dry. What is going to be your post-race celebratory meal?
Man, listen here. Okay. Another very difficult one. Because I love food after a long and hard run. It's so gratifying. And then you want to be decadent. Like you don't want to go, because I try to watch what I eat and be sensible and, all the things. There's a whole lot of no's this week. Like, nope, don't do that. No. Oh, that's white sugar. No. So, yeah. So I like pancakes.
Oh, yes.
So Stephanie Hunt's food is the best.
Mm-hmm.
However, she's running. So now I need to make sure she eats. So I'm thinking about 4th and State. Oh, it's a vegan spot. Their pancakes.
All right.
Something special. Yeah, that's something special. So
Perfect.
I'll stop there because then I'm going to take you through a ride through Porsches.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to end up in the short north. Yeah, I'll stop there. So pancakes,
All right.
because it's you can't just go anywhere as a vegan and grab pancakes.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And those pancakes are good. 4th and State.
4th and State.
All right. Heard.
Well, I think we need to schedule a follow-up, and we're going to talk about all the places that we can run to that are vegan.
Oh man, that would be sweet.
That can be a whole other show.
No, listen, that's a whole other show, and then you can invite some of those guests. So
Oh, we're doing it. Anyway, my friend, thank you. Appreciate you joining us up here.
absolutely.
This has been a lot of fun. Again, this is the 1 Mile at a Time podcast. You can hear us effective Monday and Tuesday of this week at 1 Mile at a Time .run. Yes, that is a legit website. You can dot anything these days, and we .runned it.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're done here. Thanks.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Malik.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't believe. Small world. I know.
Let's